So it's Jacob, Next Big Thing Sports, back here with another video. What we're going to be doing today is our first MLB baseball season predictions video. MLB season is coming up. It's right around the corner. It's the best time of the year. I love MLB. And our first division we're going to predict is the American League East. There was a lot going on in the American League East this offseason. So let's start with our predictions. So slotting in my number 5 spot, I have the Toronto Blue Jays once again finishing 5th in the American League East this year. I didn't hate their offseason. I thought they had a couple of good moves. Quite frankly, though, what everyone's talking about with Toronto this offseason is what they missed out on and not what they gained. They seem to miss out on every big free agent. They sent a better offer to Corbin Burns, but he'd rather stay home, and he signed a lesser deal to pitch in Arizona. They had a meeting with Roki Sasaki, an in-person meeting. This is all coming after last offseason. They were getting clowned for all the Ohtani stuff. There was rumors he was on a plane. But they did make some signings. So again, they did sign Anthony Santander. 44 home runs last year. Great year away from a division rival. I think he could have a regression this year. They traded for Andres Jimenez, the best defensive infielder in all of baseball, in my opinion, especially as a Guards fan. He's terrific. With the bat, he's not that great, though. And starting in 2027, his contract, which is already extensive, a big 7-year deal, he's going to start making more money, up over $27 million a year. They also signed Max Scherzer to a 1-year deal. Their rotation is, it has some really good names, but I worry about their starting pitching. I worry about Gosman, who took a step back. I worry about Berrios, who took a step back. With Scherzer, I worry about I don't think he's going to pitch very well, and B, I don't think he'll be able to stay healthy. And then they had all this stuff with Vlad. They didn't sign Vlad, had a chance to re-sign him. Didn't get it done. He's going to be a free agent next offseason. They need guys like Bo Bichette and George Springer to step up and have a good year if they want to compete in this division. But ultimately, I don't think the Blue Jays have enough. I think they finished 5th again in this division. Coming in at the number 4 spot in the division, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. A lot of the Tampa Bay Rays' success is going to depend on their starting pitching as well. They get Shane McClanahan back this year. How healthy is he? They need Shane Baz to come back and pitch well. He's been injured throughout his career. Drew Rasmussen, need him to come back, be healthy, pitch well. If they do that, they can compete. I also worry about the hitting. They lost Randy Arozarena last year. They lost Isaac Paredes last year, traded him away. Those guys are gone. They need guys like Brandon Lau to really step up in the middle of that order, have a good year. They need Yandy Diaz to get back to all-star form. And I think a breakout candidate, though, I think Junior Caminero has a chance to have a really special year. I think he can be a really special player. But you never know with the Rays. They could come out of nowhere and be terrific. They did make a couple of underrated moves in the offseason. They signed Danny Jansen to a 1-year deal, Ha-Seong Kim to a 2-year deal. But I still just don't think it's enough. I think the AL East just has too much talent. Even as good as a manager as Kevin Cash is, as good as the Rays are at winning games, they probably shouldn't. And out overperforming, I still think the talent gap is too big. I think they could finish with a winning record, but I still think they come in 4th in this division. I see them from around probably 80 to 84 wins. So my next projection is the Baltimore Orioles coming in 3rd place. So a lot of this for Baltimore Orioles is more about the guys they brought in aren't necessarily bad pieces. It's more about what they lost. When you lose Corbin Burns to a starting rotation that already struggled, that hurts. That's the top 5 pitcher in baseball. You lose Anthony Santander, 44 home runs out of that middle of that lineup. That hurts. There's a lot of guys in this lineup that underperformed, and that can't happen if they want to get where they want to be. And I legit think this is a World Series caliber roster. They just underperformed last year, but I really worry about the starting pitching, which is more so why I have them finishing 3rd in the division. I still think they might win. I probably think they win 90 games next year. I just think this is a division stacked. I think there's going to be 3 teams in this division win 90 games, which is why I have them down at 3rd. And the team that I have in 2nd place, I really think they're going to be neck and neck. But I do think that they finish probably like a game below this team is what I'm predicting. And I really think it's going to come down to the starting pitching. They did sign Charlie Morton to a 1-year deal, which I like, but still, Charlie Morton's going to give you a lot of innings, but he's probably going to give you like a 4.5 ERA. They signed Tyler O'Neill to a deal. He hit 31 bombs last year in limited action. Great player. That left field wall's coming in again, so that should benefit Tyler O'Neill. Signed Gary Sanchez to a 1-year deal. Maybe he still has some juice in his bat. Maybe he can pop 15 or so homers for him and spot starts in some DH role. Look, and the lineup's good. It's a really good lineup. Colton Cowser, Jordan Westberg, Adley Rutschman, all these guys. I think the big thing for them, and then obviously Gunnar Henderson, the MVP candidate, which is probably their best player in that lineup. You don't have to worry about Gunnar. I think the biggest thing for them is Adley has to get going. This is a guy that people thought could maybe be an MVP candidate. He really took a step back last year. He's capable of hitting 300 with a 900-plus OPS in this league as an elite defensive catcher. He's that good. That could be the difference. Fangraphs has Charlie Morton listed as their number 3 starter, which is really why I think this team's going to struggle. Even Grayson Rodriguez is their number 2 guy, has really struggled at times. So I really worry about the starting pitching for this team. This is why I have him at the number 3 slot. So now, maybe a little surprise, coming in at the number 2 slot is the Boston Red Sox. I think maybe behind the Dodgers, I think this may have been the best offseason by any team. First off, starting pitching, which I talked about with Baltimore, which struggled, I think is going to be great for Boston next year, which is why I think they edge Baltimore out by just a smidge. I think Garrett Crochet was maybe the move of the offseason behind like the Juan Soto signing and like big deals like that. It was a great move by Boston. He's an elite pitcher. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be terrific for them at the top of their rotation. They signed Walker Buehler to a deal. If Buehler's healthy, he was terrific in the playoffs last year down the stretch. And then they just signed Alex Bregman to a 3-year deal. Terrific move. He's going to be great with that monster. He might have a chance to pepper 30 home runs next year. Terrific signing for them. He fits in perfect. I also think if Brian Bayo untaps his potential and Tanner Houck, if those guys pitch how they can, this can be an elite rotation with an offense that's already been really good over the past couple years, and they added Bregman to that offense. This lineup was already good, but I think it got better, 1, because of the addition of Bregman, and 2, because I think their young guys are going to get better. Jarren Duran is a stud. Masataka Yoshida really struggled to start last year, was elite down the stretch. Tristan Casas is a great player if they can keep him healthy. We know what Devers is. I think Wilyer Abreu is a terrific player. Could be a potential. Already was a breakout candidate player last year. I think he can have a terrific year this year. Can Trevor Story stay healthy? And then obviously Jarren Duran, MVP candidate last year, all-star in this league, great player. And Ceddanne Rafaela and Connor Wong are also really underrated players as well. I think this is a playoff team next year. I think they're a terrific team. And I really do think they're going to finish second in this division. And now, coming up at number 1 in the division again, I think it's going to be the New York Yankees, but I think it can be really close. A lot of people are saying that after they missed out on Soto, that the Yankees still got better than they were last year, that the lineup got better overall because of the moves they made. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think the Yankees got better overall, but I do still think they're really good, and I don't think they particularly got much worse. But I wouldn't go as far to say they got better because Soto is that important to that lineup. But they still did make some terrific moves. They go out and sign Max Fried to a long-term 8-year deal. Signed Goldschmidt to a 1-year deal. Goldschmidt played really well on the stretch. They're trying to inch every last inch of baseball he has left in him. Maybe he has one more good year left in the tank. They traded for Devin Williams. That was a terrific trade. That's right up there with the Crochet trade, is the trade of the offseason. You bring a guy in. Aaron Boone knows who he's handing the ball to every night in the 9th inning now. I know Luke Weaver stepped up last year. Devin Williams is a different animal. I know he had a bad end of the year. That's 1 inning. He's one of the elite closers in baseball. Terrific move for the New York Yankees. And then they also traded for Cody Bellinger. I think that move has the potential to be a make-or-break move. If Cody Bellinger gets back to swinging it the way he was in 2023, this will be the move of the offseason because he was terrific. But if he stays how he was in 2024, it's not a crazy impact move. He is going to benefit from the short porch and right and hit a lot of home runs, so it's a good move for the Yankees in that sense. But as far as the rest of the team goes, I think losing Gleyber Torres hurts a lot. Losing Soto was massive. Because not only was Soto great, he also was huge protection in Judge in the lineup. Teams had to go at Judge because there's Soto right there in that lineup too. He was great protection for Judge. I think a lot of this is going to depend on Carlos Rodon and Max Fried. Can the lefties stay healthy? Can they provide what this team needs? Like both of those guys, they need those guys to be in like the 3.1, 3.2 ERA range. Garrett Cole's got to stay healthy. You know what he is. Again, you got to have starting pitching to win in this league. Again, like, what does Goldschmidt have left? Can Anthony Volpe give you more? But I still think New York has enough talent to